Hey, what's up everybody? Mark from Guitar Guts here, and today I'm going to show you how to package a guitar to ship it without a case. Obviously, if you have a guitar case, it's best to stick it in a case. Even if you do have a case, you'd want to make sure that it's not moving around at all inside the case. Use bubble wrap or foam or whatever you need to keep it secure in there. But today we're going to be doing it without a case because a lot of people who send guitars into me to get customized don't have cases for their guitars, and it's also a lot cheaper to send a guitar without a case. Although it's not as safe as sending it in a case, I have seen guitars come in a case that they were poorly fitted for, and they came in with little dents or little pieces come off the guitar. So there's important things like remembering to tighten all the nuts, make sure your knobs are tight, make sure nothing's going to be coming off the guitar and moving around inside the case or inside the package. Because if those things come loose, the UPS, FedEx, United States Postal Service, all the companies out there pretty much are getting these things out the door as quick as they can. They're throwing them in the trucks. They're throwing them off the trucks. They're taking a beating before they even get to their destination. So you want to make sure that if they are throwing these things around, it's going to have its best bet to be safe. So this is the guitar we're going to be getting ready to ship today. It's a Dean Dave Mustaine VMNT X. Awesome flying V guitar. It does not have a case with it, so we're going to be using a guitar box. If you need a box for a guitar, of course you could try to make one, but I don't recommend that. I would say if you need to get a guitar box and you don't have one, go down to your local guitar shop, a guitar center, wherever that's local, and see if they have any boxes around. Usually they have tons of boxes in the back, but a lot of them do smash them down and throw them away right when they come in. So you want to ask the people who work there, what day do you guys get your guitar shipments in? Could you set me aside a box that I can ship a guitar in? Or ask them if you can come back the same day and get a box from them for free. 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, no problem, we'll set some boxes aside for you, and you got yourself a free guitar box. You could also buy the boxes. Uline sells them. A lot of different places. I think StewMac even sells them. But if you want to get a free one, go talk to your local guitar shop. And you have an even better chance of getting one for free from them if you have some type of relationship with them, if you go there for your strings or your picks, or just to go check out what they got. I mean, it's always good to support local shops. Alright, so the first step for a guitar when you go to ship it is you want to loosen the strings, because sometimes these things get on airplanes. Like I said, they're getting thrown around. You want to relieve some of the tension off the neck. And also you want to put something in between the strings and the frets themselves. So cut like some type of piece of cardboard. A lot of times when you buy a brand new guitar, you could see they come with these types of protectors that go in between the strings and the frets, because if it takes a hard beating, the strings can actually hit the frets and dent the frets, kind of ruin the frets. So if you don't have anything like this one's made out of like a plastic mylar or something. I like to use a piece of foam. So this is just like packing foam. I get sheets of it all the time from people who send me stuff, and I just save it. Anytime people send me stuff, I'm always saving a certain amount of it. In my case, I save all of it, but if you're not shipping a ton of stuff, you don't need to save all the shipping stuff that you get in, because you're probably going to run out of space. It takes up quite a bit of space, but just keep some foam on hand. And once you've loosened the strings like I've already done here, you can take this and slide it right there between the strings and the frets. You can also use small bubble wrap if you really wanted to. And there we go. I got it so it's covering all the frets. And it actually even went over the pickups, which you don't necessarily need to do. But if you have some beautiful like gold or nickel covered pickups, definitely want to do that with those kinds of guitars. The next thing a lot of people like to do is to remove the toggle switch little cover that's on it. These break off a lot of times because they stick out pretty far. So when you take that off, make sure that you include it with the guitar. So in this case, I'm actually just going to tape it right to here. I'll put it in a little bag because I don't want to get a bunch of tape adhesive on it. Fold it over. We'll stick it in between a piece of foam. By the way, I was talking about cases and shipping a guitar without a case. I've even seen gig bags where the guitar hits the inside of the gig bag and hits where the zipper is. So even a gig bag, your guitar's not perfectly safe when you're shipping it. Okay, next thing, check and make sure all your parts are secured. Like I was saying, you don't want anything coming off during shipping and hitting the guitar and banging around in the package the whole time. So even if you don't have a case with it, you still want to double check and make sure your Floyd Rose locking nuts, your tremolo bar, obviously remove that. Remove the knobs. If the knobs are about to come off and they're slipping on and off, just take them off, wrap them in some foam, and you should be good. Next, I'm going to start wrapping the guitar up with some bubble wrap. There's a lot of different types of packing materials people use. There's of course like the recycled brown paper, which is great for stuffing open areas, but it's kind of rigid and stiff, and I wouldn't use that to wrap a guitar. There's large bubble wrap, which is great. There's small bubble wrap, which can be great too, but you need a lot of it to take up the space and really, you know, for a neck or something like that, this is great. For accessories, that's great. But for the body, the large bubble wrap really does work better. Of course, there's this foam, the stuff that I was just using to prevent the strings from hitting the frets. There's all kinds of different air mailers, air packs, you know, air bags. There's these sheets, which are basically bubble wrap. If you're just going to be using paper, I would say it makes sense to wrap the guitar with something soft, like an old t-shirt or something, you know, some type of cotton material. I've seen people use sheets, like, you know, bed sheets and towels and things like that. I mean, if you got some to spare, go for it. Now, like I was saying, there's a lot of different materials you can use to wrap the neck, which is what I'm going to start with. I'm going to use small bubble wrap because you can get quite a bit around it and it's not too bulky. For the body, I do like it to be a little bit bigger, like some large bubble wrap, but for a neck, small bubble wrap works good. Bring the guitar to a table like this, where you could hang the neck off, and it makes it a lot easier to wrap the neck. And you just want to wrap it very evenly. Now we'll use some clear packing tape to secure the bubble wrap. Now when you get to the top of the headstock, I always leave a little bit hanging off here so then I can fold it over, but don't fold it over tight. You can kind of fold it so that you have a little bit of space at the top. So if something's going to hit this, you got plenty of padding on top. Now we'll take some large bubble wrap and we'll wrap that on the body. Now we'll take some large bubble wrap and we're going to use that to wrap the body. You don't want to go cheap on your packing material, so the more you can use, the better. For a flying V, I'm going to pay special attention to these corners down here and give them an extra wrap here. So if they throw the box around, these aren't going to poke through the box or anything crazy like that. Don't use any tape on the guitar. Don't tape your packing materials to the guitar. Tape it to other packing material. And like I did with the headstock, I kind of have some extra couple inches here. So as I wrap it over, we have plenty of space here, plenty of cushion before we hit the actual corner of the guitar. Because like I said, they throw these boxes around. And oftentimes guitar boxes come in with big old holes in the edges and holes in the sides where the guitar pokes through. So definitely want to prevent that. Okay, these corners look awesome now. I'm going to do a little more on the whole body though. They make some large bubble wrap that's extra wide. This is like 24 or 18 inches wide, and this is the best for bodies. They also make it in like 12 inch, which is about half this size. And that can work too, but this extra long stuff, if you're going to be shipping a lot of guitars, I recommend getting some of that. Now you could keep going with more bubble wrap, but we're going to put a lot of padding around it inside the box, so this should be good for the guitar itself. We got 3 or 4 wrappings in all the areas. Looks good to me. Now we have our guitar box here, and what I've done is lined the bottom with bubble wrap. You always want to put something at the bottom, but don't use airbags because airbags easily pop. So you'll want to get some foam, something thick, some nice big large bubble wrap. Don't use the thin bubble wrap. You could even use the packing paper. That would work down there. But you want something that's going to elevate the guitar 3 or 4 inches, maybe 3 inches off the bottom. A minimum of 2 inches, really. I mean, you don't want the guitar touching the bottom of the box or the sides, really. You want to have packing material all the way around it so the guitar's right in the center, stabilized by packing all around it. Some thick pads like this work really good for the bottom of the case, or the bottom of the box. So if you have some pieces like this, you can cut them down and line the bottom with that. This works great. That kind of foam is also great to take a knife or something like that, cut a hole in it, like shown, and you can slide that right over the selector switch too. So that'll keep it stable, that'll keep it pretty well protected. Now what I've done is I measured the box and I made this that's going to go at the very bottom of the box too. So I cut it taped a couple pieces together, and this is going to work great. Now I'm going to set the guitar down into the box. We're going to drop the guitar right in there. Now when you look at this guitar, it's not going to fit in this box. Flying V's, Explorers, things like that are just too big for typical normal guitar boxes. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to tape these corners that are normally the edge of the box. I'm going to tape them all up like this, and I'll create a new cap that's going to go over the top and tape it closed. When I push down on the guitar, I can feel that it's got a lot of give, a lot of squish in here, which is great. So you can also see that the guitar is going to be centered. You know, you don't push it all the way to one side and then pack it and smush it to one side. You get it centered so that the neck is going to be stabilized right in the center. Now that the guitar is wrapped up, the bottom has a nice big pad on it. You could use paper or large bubble wrap, anything really to fill out around the guitar and keep it stable and centered. Don't pack it down super hard. Just keep it so that it's stabilizing the guitar nicely. Obviously, you don't want the guitar moving once this thing is packed up. And you shake the box, the guitar should never be coming over and touching the sides, but you don't need to pack it so tight that the box is like bulging out. I'm going to take a couple pieces of this foam and stick them behind the neck because this headstock tilts back quite a bit. So this will keep it nice and centered. Centered is the word of the day. Now on the front side of the box where the fretboard is going to be, I'm going to put some more large bubble wrap, kind of roll it up and keep it so that the front of the fretboard won't be anywhere near the edge of the box. So I'll kind of roll it up like that. When you're crumpling up packing paper, you want to keep it fluffy so that it creates a cushion, not super tight and dense because you'll end up using so much packing material. So keeping it kind of fluffy is going to keep everything suspended. Now I've got this box just about full, and I cut another piece of foam here that's going to go right across the top. And it doesn't need to push down super tight, but you want it to be, you know, full and snug. So that looks good right there. Using another spare box that I had around, I measured this box and took its dimensions and cut a little piece that's going to be for the top of this one. Then I taped it on using more packing tape. Then using packing tape, and you don't want to use duct tape or any other type of masking tape. You want to use packing tape for this because that's what it's designed for, sticking to paper and boxes. Anywhere where there's a seam, like across all here, across here, across here, across there, and then opposite side of the box too, put tape across that so no like dust or any type of like moisture can get in the box. I mean, moisture can get through cardboard a little bit, but you want to make sure that all your edges are completely sealed. If there's any like old labels, try to remove them off the box, but if they don't want to come off, cover up anything that has a barcode on it or like an address or anything like that. So these are like the typical labels that are half sheet labels that I print my information on for shipping. And I'm just going to put one over this entire old label here. Also, even if you're using an adhesive backed label like this, I still put tape on the edges of it. If one of those edges starts to lift, you know, it's probably going to come off. They treat these pretty rough in transit, so at least do two sides like that. Keep that thing taped down. Now this thing's pretty awesome. This thing's ready to go. I don't hear it going around. If you drop it, it sounds good. I wouldn't drop it too much, but you know, that's what kind of stuff is going to happen to it when it's in transit. Now we'll throw it on the scale. It's always a plus if the box stands up on its own. And we got 12.4 pounds. And measure it because you're going to need the measurements for a large box like this. Even If it doesn't necessarily ask for it, you might want to enter it anyways in your software or however you're printing it, if you're going to print your own postage, because guitar boxes are considered large packages or very extra large or whatever they call it. So you want to make sure you enter those dimensions so that you're going to be paying the correct postage, or they might try to bill the person that it gets delivered to, or they might come back to you and bring the package back and say, no, it's not fully paid. So here we got 53 inches tall by 21 wide. By 6. I always print my own postage. I use stamps.com. I have like an account with them, so I always use them. They give you discounted shipping rates. They also let you compare between USPS, FedEx, and UPS, which usually for shipping guitars in the United States, I find UPS is the best price. It's also the easiest for drop-offs. When you got a prepaid package, you just walk in there, hand them the package, they give you a receipt, and you're on your way. The post office, it seems like you have to wait in line forever, and FedEx is usually pretty comparable too, but I've just always used UPS, so I usually go with them, and also I have a private mailbox with them, so I'm in there all the time picking up packages that people send me, so it's convenient for me. But if you don't have a stamps.com account, you could always go to pirateship.com. It's a shipping service that's free that gives you discounted rates as well, so they'll let you compare FedEx, UPS, and USPS, and you can see what's the best price. I'll put a link down in the description to that place. Shipping guitars isn't cheap. Using the stamps.com rate, which is discounted, shipping this guitar, which is almost 13 pounds, it's 53 inches tall, 21 wide, and 6 deep. Normally 53, it's a little bigger than normal. A lot of guitar cases will be, or guitar boxes will be like in the 40s. 50 is pretty big, but it's a big flying V with a 6 inline headstock. So, but it's only 13 pounds. If this were in a hardshell case, it'd probably be closer to 20 pounds. And just the base rate for this is $52.86. When I look through the different carriers, I can go over to USPS, and I see that their typical ground is $116. So if you walk into a UPS store and try to ship this guitar, bring the box in just like this, it's probably going to be $70, $80 plus insurance. You always want to add insurance. Like I said, they do not treat these things like babies when they're in transit. They're throwing them off the trucks and on the trucks. So you always want to purchase insurance. A tip with UPS, if you go to $1,000 of insurance value, they make it so that you have to have the driver who picks it up sign it. And if you're dropping it off at a UPS store, there's not a driver there. They don't let the employees at the UPS store do that signature. So if you have a delivery coming, then you could have the driver do that. Or if you see a driver, driving around, you could stop them, give them the box, and get them to accept the package. But there's a form that you have to have signed by the driver, and you have to keep for your personal records if you're going over $1,000. So I recommend $9.99. If your package is close to $1,000, just do $9.99, and you'll stay within that $1,000 little spot. So for this one, it would have been about $40. I entered the dimensions, and it bumped it up to $52.86, like I said. But now we're going to add insurance on there too. So if we add $999 worth of insurance, that kicks it up about $10. And now we're sitting at about $65 to ship this guitar. That's from California to Oklahoma. If you're going from like Massachusetts or New York all the way to California across the entire country, expect to pay $15, $20, $25 more if you print your own postage. I use stamps.com for this shipment, but if you look at ups.com, you could see they would have charged $117 for the exact same shipping. And here you can see the price from California to New York with the exact same box and weight and all that would be $136. Like I mentioned, I use stamps.com, but you could also use pirateship.com. And these are discounted online rates for ups.com. Like I said, if you use the retail walking in the store price, it's going to be quite a bit higher than these prices. It's kind of crazy how much they charge retail. And also, if you have them package the guitar, it's going to be way more than that. I've seen people pay $200 to ship me a guitar that they just walk in with the guitar, UPS packs it up for them, and prints them the label. It's actually kind of insane. So if you guys have any other tips or tricks to shipping a guitar and packing a guitar, leave them down in the comments. Maybe we'll make a revised version of this one day, or an additional version for people who have different circumstances. But I appreciate you guys watching. Happy shipping. And thanks for watching, guys. Another important thing is to check the residential address if you're going to be shipping it to a residential, because it does cost more than a business address for UPS. And another thing is signature confirmation. That costs extra. Some people prefer it and some people don't. So whoever you're shipping the guitar to, double check with them and see if they want that. And I will see you guys in the next video. Rock on, my friends.